Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Signal of Doom. You're here with Dave and Stu. Stu, what an exciting time. We're here live video recording.
Yeah, video for YouTube as well as the podcast.
Yeah,
so
it's a
check us out on both.
Multimedia effort.
It's an empire we're building here, Dave.
Yeah, and it's early days of Rome, but it's still Rome. Now, Stu, what this is basically going to be is our live reactions coming out of Avengers Infinity War. We're probably the only people on the internet who thought of doing this, would you say?
Pretty sure, yeah. We're at the top of the 7 billion.
We're always ahead of the curve. And we came out, and Stu said to me, can I come over and we'll do like a live reaction take? And we'll do it on video. And I was just like mind blowing. I was like, Stu's just changing the game. So this is, it's recorded on Stu's phone, so you're the director, Stu.
That's it, I'm putting this whole thing together.
Yeah.
Which is good for all of us, really.
Director.
That someone other than Dave is doing this.
Yeah, I'd agree. We tried to get my girlfriend to film the whole thing, but when we said to her it was going to be like an hour or 40 minutes an hour, she just basically bailed completely on the whole thing.
Fair call, though.
I suppose so, man. As I said, I know Jim Morrison of the Doors fame. He had girlfriends who supported him through his drug habits and his recordings and all that kind of thing. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Doors, but basically they were very faithful to him. Anyway, that's not the scenario here.
Thank you. Let's move on from Jim Morrison.
Now, Stu, so we just walked out of Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah. So just preface: this is spoiler heavy.
Yeah, I already said it's a spoiler review.
No, you didn't. But
I did. I said that.
Let's just spoilers. Yeah, heavy spoilers. So see the movie, then come and watch this.
Yeah, definitely. And it just opened in Australia, and I know it's opening in the States in the next 48 hours. Yeah.
So it's Wednesday here, which means it's Tuesday in the States currently. You guys get it on Friday, so it's 3 days away for the States and most of the world. Australia luckily got it early because of a public holiday. So we all had the day off. A day off to watch the movie, unless you're Carl Stefanovic.
Let's not even bring him up. But, okay. So, Stu, I'm going to give you just my general take, emotion-wise, and then we're going to go through, we'll both do our general takes, and then we'll do, story.
We'll break it down, yeah.
Now, my feelings, Stu, I don't know where you were. I came out of the movie. I went in with pretty high expectations. I said to Michelle, she said to me, expect an 8 out of 10. If it's any better, feel grateful kind of thing. But I knew it would be pretty good. I came out, dude, I had probably a 9.5 experience out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I was pumped. It was very intense. It's action-packed. It's got some nice comedic beats in it, though, some nice character moments, but the action's heavy. There's multiple storylines going on, circulating around Thanos, who's trying to acquire the Infinity Stones, as we know. But, I had a blast, man. And the ending is kind of like, whoa, pretty somber, but pretty affecting as well. It left me going, man, roll on Avengers 4.
Exactly.
Give me a little bit of time.
They said this wasn't going to be a to-be-continued movie. It's almost a to-be-continued movie.
It is, yeah. That's just typical.
You can claim this as an ending, and it kind of is.
Yeah. But if this was the last film of the whole franchise, I think people would be pretty let down.
People would be rioting in the streets.
Yeah, because, it's got good continuation. I was pumped, but I'm not kidding. I'm 9.5, and the only thing that disappointed me was just a personal character arc saddened me. I'm not knocking points off for it, but it was, I guess it kind of grounded me emotionally. Where were you, Stu?
This movie will play with your emotions. You have extreme highs, and then you get lows. There were people openly crying in the cinema when I went there on opening day.
Really?
Yeah, people were literally just crying, sitting in their seats and crying. Okay. It's full on. I've seen it twice today.
Was it grown men, or was it teenage girls?
Everyone.
Really?
Yeah.
Grown men were weeping next to you.
Yeah.
I hope you were one of them, Stu. Frankly, were you crying? I just had a little. There's a difference between I've watched films before with the little trickle might come down. Like Spider-Man 2, I remember the eyes are a bit watery, but openly sobbing, that would surprise me.
Yeah, it got up there. It was pretty intense.
Oh well. Maybe I'm a little bit emotionally insensitive. But
I think you're very emotionally insensitive. I think we've discovered this on multiple occasions throughout our history together.
Probably, yeah, okay, yeah. Fair point.
This is new information.
Was Greg blubbering? I can't imagine it.
I don't know. He was in your session.
He looked absolutely fine. He looked bouncy.
If anyone was crying in your session, maybe it was him.
That's cold. So where were you out of 10, Stu?
This is it's somewhere between 9.5 and a 10. It's right up there. Yeah, there are very few movies that I can think of that are better outright.
And, I mean, let's face it, the hype for this movie was enormous. I mean, how long have we spoken about this film?
Yeah, exactly. Expectations were astronomical, and it delivered.
Yeah,
it really delivered.
Would it? You know, we did recently top threes. I'm going to say this is going to push Iron Man 3 out of my top 3.
This changes the top 3.
Yeah, it would either be that or Ragnarok. It sort of says, okay, guys, step
See,
aside.
this and Ragnarok are right up there for me.
Yeah.
And I would say this is probably a better movie.
Yeah, it's very different. It's more action heavy. There's a lot of action in this movie. It's a different movie. I mean, it's got an enormous cast. I've got to say, the Russo brothers, give them credit for juggling big casts of important players. Like, so major pieces are having to be shuffled around the board. And it's done very well. It's done very professionally and very well, I personally thought, you know?
Oh, yeah, the scheduling would have been absolutely crazy. And this is halfway through. So they have filmed a whole other movie after this. With the same cast, if not more.
Yeah.
Because we're assuming most of this cast is returning, plus Captain Marvel, plus Ant-Man, plus Wasp.
Yes.
And Hawkeye possibly. I'm assuming Hawkeye.
He got a mention. I mean, there was a lot of speculation about where's Hawkeye, and he took a deal. Him and Ant-Man took a deal. You know.
Yeah, from the raft. So they were doing their own thing. So we might see Hawkeye in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Making a brief appearance
wouldn't
there.
Surprise me, just to connect it a little bit.
Because we're assuming these movies are running concurrently. So Ant-Man and the Wasp is real time.
Although there was some speculation that Ant-Man and the Wasp, I have heard speculation, was slightly before this movie. I have heard that speculation.
I mean, obviously there's like a 2-year window or so.
Okay. And Captain Marvel comes out before Avengers 4, yeah?
Yes, Captain Marvel comes out at the very start of next year.
And I do want to pay...
basically, Black Panther going into Infinity War is Captain Marvel going into Avengers 4 next year.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
Same timeline.
There's a badass post-credit scene in this movie. There's only one post-credit scene.
There is only one. It's at the end of the credits.
You told me there was only one, and you said it's worth staying for. But dude, you undersold it, because this is a good post-credit scene.
Post-credit scenes kind of have a full range of why did I bother?
Throwaway to, like, you know...
Hell yeah, this sets up the next movie.
And when that icon came up, when he was like making the call Nick Fury, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
So we see Nick Fury and Maria Hill in New York at the end of the movie after the catastrophic ending.
Sure.
People are disappearing, so he reaches for this old school pager, which is beaten up and clearly been carried around for 20 years.
And he's obviously gone, this is a nuclear option, you know?
Yeah, this is call in the biggest gun you have.
Yep.
Sending as he disintegrates. It's so cool.
Yeah, that was full on. And the icon shows, which, I mean, most, hardcore Marvel fans know is the icon for Captain
I like
Marvel.
that they showed the little star, which the hardcore nerds were going, that's Marvel.
Yeah.
And then they did the red and blue banner background, so everyone else was like, oh, yeah, Captain Marvel's coming. I'm like...
I thought that was what I realised. I thought that was really well done. And what a beautiful way to end such a slick professional movie. Like, on that note, just like, oh, give me more.
Because it's that glimmer of hope. Like, the next movie's coming out and we're going to have Captain Marvel in it.
Exactly. And she's a heavy hitter. And, I mean,
she's up there with
to cut to the chase, basically, surprising kind of nobody, when he acquires all the stones, Thanos does achieve his goal of wiping out, like, half or,
we get the finger snap. We get the snap from the comic books.
But it
which
did
is
leave
amazing.
An essential group of Avengers at the end. It kind of cut it down to its core, almost the starting core of Avengers, basically, wasn't it, Stuart?
Essentially, the original core. Iron Man, Thor, Cap, and Hulk are all there. Black Widow was there. Yep. War Machine was there.
Yes, Rhodey.
And Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, and Iron Man was there.
Yeah, that's the first name I said.
Yeah, okay, cool. Who else was there in Titan?
On Titan?
Yeah.
It was Iron Man and Nebula were the only two left.
Nebula.
Nebula's a big player if you read the comic books, though.
No,
because she's the one that actually puts on the gauntlet.
Yeah, I agree. And I actually said to Michelle after the movie as we were driving out, like, that I really liked that nod that we did Infinity Gauntlet recently, and the way
so many scenes played out straight from the book, though.
Yeah, I
right?
thought it was really clever.
It was really good. It didn't diminish it if you weren't a comic book fan.
No.
Like, I had friends go in there and say they loved this scene, yet I love it. The same scene because of all the little Easter eggs and plot points that they put in there from the books.
Context.
Yeah, so the hardcore nerds that are normally somewhat let down by an average movie
Sure.
Could get all these little bits and pieces that added to it.
I think this one had a lot
tremendously.
of nods to the comics. Where were you, dude? On because I know part of the thing is as people are turning dust, you're kind of like you're going, oh please not Tony, please not Tony. Where were you when Spidey got turned? Because Ben, I was like, oh, that was a heartbreaker for me. I was wearing my Spidey cap. And I wasn't prepared at all for that little piece of information. I know he will get turned back, eventually.
Yeah, I'm kind of in this weird... Seeing Spidey go was heartbreaking.
Yes.
The only character that actually got to say, I'm sorry and goodbye and all this sort of...
Yeah, well, he's been very much Tony's, as they almost said, ward in this. Like, he's Tony Jr.,
But, like, we saw other major characters, like Black Panther.
Oh, yeah, I know. Black Panther
didn't get a word.
But they obviously didn't realise the box office receipts on Black Panther because he just got...
Oh, they definitely knew Black Panther was big when they made this. He's pretty heavily featured. Wakanda is a main setting.
I was surprised that he got disintegrated. But I know they have to...
Okoye and Shuri didn't.
Yeah.
They're both in there, so they'll be carrying the Black Panther flag in the next...
Bucky got dusted, didn't he?
Bucky did get dusted.
Yeah. Look, Spidey just broke me up personally because you know how much I love Spidey, and I know there's a lot of Spidey.
Yeah, I mean, part of me just knowing this is a comic book movie and that they died in the snap.
Yes.
That they're going to be back.
Yeah, you know they're back. You know his movie's the first one coming out of after Avengers 4. It's not so much that he's gone for good, it's just that he'll be gone for a large portion of the next movie. That's kind of where I was kind of like...
Yeah, you're expecting at least half of the next movie to not have these characters there.
But then again, Stu, you know what? The next movie could be long, and then if he comes in halfway, then he's probably going to be a pretty triumphant entry.
I mean, put it this way, we've got enough of a cast for an Avengers movie for the first half of a movie anyway. And then it's Avengers 1 cast plus 4 or 5 others.
People. Oh no, it's well done.
So it's a strong cast, even if it is for half a movie, before we get the massive overhaul. And remembering that we do have the additions of Ant-Man, Wasp, Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And we've got both versions of Ant-Man and Wasp. We get old and new.
Yes. I'll tell you who we didn't see. Wasn't there some talk that Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas were going to be in the scene? I didn't see that.
Yeah, with Ant-Man, and so they were in Avengers 4.
Oh, it was for Avengers 4.
Yeah, so it was all filmed at the same time, and rumours, all these rumours that were coming out, we didn't know which movie they were for.
I see, right, okay.
So a lot of those scenes that we didn't see anything of, all the rumours came out, we know that that's now Avengers 4.
Okay, cool. Okay, so picking it up, Stu, like, story-wise at the beginning, I mean, the story is, in essence, not that complicated. Like, basically... Thanos has finally got off his ass, and he's got his Black Order. How were you on the Black Order, by the way? Did you feel that they were, portrayed well or slightly underpowered? Where were you on that?
Some of them didn't really get a lot of screen time. Cull Obsidian, basically a Hulk-like character.
Yes.
Got a couple of battles, but no dialogue. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
Corvus Glaive and Proxima Midnight, I didn't feel were served as well as they could have been.
At the airlock?
The Ebony Maw.
Okay.
He was actually overpowered, I thought.
Right, yeah. He was quite powerful.
Yeah, he could control matter as well in this movie.
He could do anything.
So in the comics, he's strictly telepathic.
Right. Whereas in this,
suggestion-based.
He sort of almost had Doctor Strange level sort of powers.
Well, here it was kind of Scarlet Witch-esque powers.
Yes. And Spidey had the bright idea out of Avengers, blow him out the airlock.
Blow him out the airlock, like in Aliens.
Good idea, Spidey.
The pop culture references.
I've got to say, Spidey and Iron Man were just working seamlessly together. I love their interaction. I'm glad I didn't watch the TV, but I loved it when Tony Stark knighted him.
Yes.
Yeah, because I was like...
That was good.
I've actually got a trade, Stu.
But I love the moment that Spidey kind of... He went through the full range of emotions after he'd been knighted.
Sure.
You could see he got that really gleeful look, yeah, I'm an Avenger. And then he went straight to... Holy crap, I'm an Avenger and shit's hitting the fan. I'm in charge now. This is...
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good.
He's growing up. And I've got a trade, Am I an Avenger, which is a collection of Spider-Man's adventures in the 60s and 70s and 80s, I think, where he kind of interacted with the Avengers.
Yeah.
And they offered him membership and stuff. It's a bit of a classic trade. We'll do it on the show sometime. It's a good collection. And they offered him early on to be an Avenger.
Oh, yeah.
And, he's always been sort of a part-time...
He's always been on the fence a little bit.
Yeah. He didn't really get brought into the fold properly until Bendis with New Avengers. But, Yeah, so we had that, and then, like, out of all the teams, you had the Thor storyline, which was basically, like, he went...
So, I mean, at the beginning of the movie, we know that it picked up directly where Ragnarok left off.
Yes.
Which was the Asgardians on the ship after the assault by Thanos. So this picks up maybe 10 minutes after Ragnarok ends. So we see the final bits of that carnage.
Yeah, and they're getting demolished.
They were demolished. There were people lying on the ground, crippled and dying.
Thor was like the only one. Like he almost was half dead, and Loki was alive.
Loki was there, but under armed guard by literally the entire of the Black Order. Heimdall was lying there dying.
Yep.
We didn't see. Yeah, I know. It was a bit of a brutal ending. Kind of matched the.
He's bitched and moaned his way through the entire Marvel movie franchise. So like how many?
No, not really.
Idris Elba has gone on record a couple of times moaning about. He was saying he went from Mandela. He literally was quoted saying, "I came from Mandela, where people were worshipping me on set, to playing the gatekeeper, and it's just not acting, and all this kind of stuff." He then had to walk his comments back, and it's on record. Go check it out. Age of Ultron. Because when he signed to do X-Men movies, he wasn't the big Hollywood star that he is now. His star has risen in Hollywood a lot. I love Idris Elba. But he's a far bigger star now than he was when he signed to do Thor 1, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the way it works. And his character, they've tried to puff it out a bit, but it's tough. I mean, he's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, I mean, Heimdall's always been a major part in Thor comics.
But he's not in the movies, though, is he? He just, they don't do much with him.
Yeah, no, they don't do much with him.
Yeah. But anyway, so he got killed off, and I don't think he'll be coming back.
No. So he stabbed through the chest by Corvus Glaive.
He did send Hulk off, though. That was good. He got a last little heroic move.
Yeah, he does his last little thing and sending Hulk in. Replacing the Silver Surfer from the comics.
Yeah.
As the kind of herald that comes crashing through the ceiling of the Sanctum Sanctorum.
That all the predictions in the world about will Fantastic Four be there, will Silver Surfer be there? No,
yeah, I told you there was no chance of that happening.
I'm so disappointed.
Literally no chance.
But I wasn't surprised, but I was just, halfway through the movie, I thought, I wonder if Silver Surfer's just going to make a pop-in appearance here at some point. And
they don't own the character. They can't.
Yeah, but I thought there may have been a background deal done, like in the lead up to it. Like they can make an agreement. Yeah,
but how transparent is this going to be though? Like when they did that deal with Spidey, the world knew about it.
No, I would make it a non-transparent deal. Like, do the deal
behind
closed doors.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Oh, there's plenty of deals that get done behind closed doors.
Not when you're looking at a Marvel movie. The amount of spoilers that happen, the amount of people that are on set.
Happen, so let's not focus on it.
Doesn't happen.
Halfway through the movie, I thought, gee, I hope Silver Surfer just flies in just to prove Stu wrong. And then Time was starting to run down the game, and I thought, this is not happening. He's not coming.
It's never going to happen.
I was still holding out in the post-credits scene. I was thinking, what about in the post-credits scene? Silver Surfer just flies by, and then it started with Fury, and I was like, it's not going to happen. No. This is not a cosmic ending.
No. Well, it kind of was.
So we had that happen.
So, yeah, they send Hulk away. Then Loki, after making a deal and giving him the space gem, gets literally stabbed and then choked, and his neck gets snapped.
And Loki, to his credit, does try to go out with like a last attempt at using his knife to
betray Thanos, but...
look, it was a last roll of the dice for Loki, I think.
Yeah, it was. And I didn't expect him to go, because, I mean, Tom Hiddleston's been pretty amazing for the MCU.
Oh, yeah, no, I felt some emotional impact from his death. And, I mean, look, in comics, who knows, in comic book movies, who knows how long death is, but that did feel fairly final.
Yeah, I feel like deaths that happened before the snap,
I
think it's likely going to stick with them.
No, I agree. I think there's every chance, put it that way. And I think, I mean, God knows with Loki. Like, I mean, who knows where they're going with the Thor franchise after all this? Who knows if Chris Hemsworth will make it out of it?
Exactly. I mean, Chris Hemsworth hasn't signed on for any other movies. And now he has no family or friends left.
And they didn't really... Did they say that Tessa Thompson's character's dead? Because when they mentioned best friend and he said neck stabbed, was that her?
No, he said stabbed through the heart. It was Heimdall.
Were they best friends?
Yeah.
Heimdall was his best friend.
Yeah. So
I thought maybe Korg or someone might have been the best friend. Really, Heimdall?
If you've watched any Thor movies, you'd understand it.
But I never really got the impression that, like, I mean, I would have almost thought Loki was his best friend.
No, Loki was his brother.
I understand that, but like, I don't know, Stu. Like, I mean, I didn't realise he was so close to Heimdall. I guess he was. Like, they were friendly. I agree they were friendly. I didn't realise he was best friend. Wait, he didn't specify, so I thought, is he talking about Tessa Thompson, who was not in this movie at all, and you didn't see her dead on the ground? Are you writing her off as dead, though, is my question to you?
No. Tessa Thompson and Korg and Meek and any other characters that we saw coming from Ragnarok weren't in any scene in this movie. And they actually said that they killed half the Asgardians.
Yes.
So Thanos did his usual trick of killing half of them.
Okay, so he let some live and let some die.
Yeah, so there's plenty of room for Lady Sif to be alive and on board, and we just haven't seen her.
Was Lady Sif on board? Was she actually on board?
She wasn't in Ragnarok.
No, she said she wasn't. Nowhere to be seen. She was somewhere.
No, I mean, and there's other Asgardians.
She was in the TV show Blind Spot is where she was.
I mean, there are other Asgardians that are named in the comics that haven't been named in the TV universe and the movie universe.
Stu and I last night, as part of our like never-ending press campaign, were at a trivia night, and the question came up with the Warriors 3, and I wrote down, because I had the pen at that point, you had to write down the Warriors 3, and I started with Lady Sif and got no further, and Stu's gone, well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
She's not considered part of the Warriors 3?
No.
Is this just a sexist thing? Because I always thought she was.
No, she's never been part of the Warriors 3.
But she fights with them all the time.
Yeah, that's why it's called Lady Sif and the Warriors 3.
Wow. Why is she not part of it? Just...
I don't know. Same as like Balder's not part of it, but he's with them all the time.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that came as a surprise to me. So, yeah, I mean, that came as a big surprise to me, and I thought I'd just mention it now. Yeah, and they were all killed in Ragnarok, weren't they?
The Warriors 3 were all killed. Two of them were killed without a word.
How are you feeling about this kind of like, as we move deeper into the Marvel franchise, we're now killing off characters? I
mean, I've always said that ending a franchise and ending a story is the hardest part.
But this franchise isn't ending, dude. Like,
no, but I'd be quite happy for them to end this version of the MCU and just continue on with some characters and call it a new journey kind of thing.
But where are you going to get like another Thor or another Warriors 3? Like when you kill, like, or a new Loki, for example.
No, you don't.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. If you kill him, then you don't have him back.
You could always do a lot of stories with Loki. Like Loki's been killed before. He's come back as a teenage boy and a kid. Like,
I don't see Loki. They definitely don't want to bring back because otherwise his deaths are meaningless and nobody cares anymore.
What about if he came back as like a teen, as he has in the comics?
God, that's awful.
Well, it was apparently a good comic.
No, not really.
You wouldn't like to see it in the movies?
No, if you're going to go, Chris Hemsworth hasn't re-signed. I'd be tempted to give his power to another character, like a Tessa Thompson.
I love Tessa Thompson.
Like another version of Thor, and they go forward. You don't have Asgard anymore because that's gone.
You just move the story.
There's no Odin, there's no Loki, there's none of that. That's all gone. And any character that dies, like, say Cap dies in the next one, his shield gets passed on to someone else.
Yeah.
And from that point on, it's a new story.
But, like, okay, that's great in theory. But, like...
So when you lose a bunch of these characters, I'm not... Like, as long as their death is justified, and it makes sense in the story,
not just off screen,
I'm totally cool with it.
Steve Rogers stabbed his neck in a motorbike accident. Sorry, kids, you don't see it.
Yeah, see that feels cheap, and like you've spent hours with these characters.
If Steve Rogers dies in Avengers 4, it'll be in the most heroic way possible.
Oh, it'll be massive. It'll be something like Spider-Man's death in this one.
Yeah,
like it'll be paid off.
I just look. I agree with you. I just question for the studio themselves. Part of it's obviously the actors. Like these actors, if to re-sign, it would be paid a fortune. So the reality is possibly they can't re-sign them and make it economical. But where will they be in 10 years?
Well, in terms of economics, they're making more than enough money on any project.
I know, but they still don't like to pay it at a certain point, like on a TV show. They hit a certain point where they don't want to pay everyone $100 million.
No, but you've got to weigh up whether you pay an RDJ a $200 million check for a movie, or you get a new Iron Man, you run with Iron Heart or something, and nobody goes to see it.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude,
like you're better off spending the $200 million and getting a $1.5 billion movie than spending $100,000 and getting a $200 million movie.
13-year-old playing Ironheart, and I don't care if it's male or female. I'm losing interest as we speak. You know.
Yeah, so I think they've got to weigh up those decisions, and I think Thor's character moves on quite nicely.
I think Thor's got a lot of room to move.
I think
you've got different places you can
especially
move
now that all the Asgardians are gone.
Yes,
it's very easy for them to say the Odin Force got transferred to Jane Foster or Tessa Thompson or Lady Sif or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
It could be literally anyone.
And you've got room the story can move because now it will be almost like not last of a race, but definitely a diminished race. You know, you
wouldn't have any Asgardians anymore. You wouldn't have the Asgardian side to it.
Half of them live.
Well, yeah, but unless you're transferring the powers to one of them,
sure,
you wouldn't go back to any of them. No one's there that we know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, wherever they go with the story, you'd be going to new territory, is my point.
Brand new.
Like, yeah, I'm down with that.
And that's what I'm saying, like, at the end of this arc, at the end of Avengers 4...
Steve Rogers, though. Steve Rogers, I think, is tougher. I mean, I know you could give it to Bucky.
No, I think he's one of the easiest ones.
Who would you give it to? Who would you give the shield to, Stu?
I mean, Bucky and Falcon are both comic book carriers of the shield, but you could literally just find any other patriotic character. It doesn't have to be a named character that we know of.
Do you really think it's going to pop as well?
No, it won't.
Like John Walker, for example, US Agents, who they did in the comics, you know, in the 80s. Like, he was who the government gave the shield to when Cap went sort of down his nomad role in the...
I mean, whether it works or not is basically dependent on the first movie we see.
Yeah.
Like, we've had characters that nobody said would work. The Guardians was completely wacky. Nobody went, Guardians, I've been looking forward to this for 10 years.
I agree.
And then the first movie was fantastic, and now we care about Star-Lord.
But everyone already cares so much about Steve Rogers and about Chris Evans as Captain America. Everyone's so invested so heavily that if you don't give it to Bucky or Falcon and you give it to an unknown, I think that's a lot harder. See, I think Bucky or Falcon could be great for a storyline, for a movie or two. Like, you know, potentially. Like, I think if you gave it to Bucky, you could do a wicked movie. You know what I mean? It might not be forever, but you could certainly do a movie or two out of those stories. And same with Falcon.
I mean, you've got to look at the timeline as well. Like, it's been going for 10 years. It's 11 by the time the next Avengers comes out. You're looking at like 12, 13 to 15 by the time they get the next round of solos.
Do you think, though, here's my question. People talk about Marvel fatigue. Like, clearly there's no fatigue at the moment. Everyone's at a hyper pitch. But I do wonder when they start swapping cast members out if certain parts of the franchise might start to suffer at the box office. Or might start to...
I think what Marvel's set themselves up for is if we don't have a cap...
Sure.
We don't run anyone on a cap.
Yeah,
that's another completely viable option.
Yep.
You maybe you have a character that has the shield, but they would appear in other people's movies. There's no cap franchise,
and then maybe build to a point where you do a cap after you build them up a bit.
Because when you go through phase 2 and into phase 3, and we're just adding, we haven't taken away any of these franchises. But if you took away 2 or 3 of the names, we've added 2 or 3 in the last phase alone.
Sure.
So it's not like we're diminishing to failure. Like, we're keeping it steady for the last 10 years.
Where were you on Big Death was Thanos' stepdaughter, Gamora, got killed in exchange for the Soul Stone. Michelle actually picked it. As we walked to the thing, I said, who do you think a major player will die? And she had no idea. And then she goes, what about someone like Gamora? So needle in a haystack approach, but she got there. And I was impressed. A, do you think that death will last you know, by the end of Avengers 4?
Yep.
And B, where are you on that death? Because it slightly surprised me because I thought she's been a very good character in Guardians. We know there's going to be Guardians 3. Where are you on this?
Again, Guardians is one of those franchises we've added more Guardians as we've gone. We haven't really removed any, so we do have some room to move.
Sure.
I think the death will stick.
Were you surprised?
Going in, I wouldn't have picked it.
No.
When they went to that planet...
Yes.
And by the way, the reveal of Red Skull I thought was brilliant.
Yes, there's a Red Skull. And Stu, we really should... You know, we're lazy. We haven't done our research yet. Has Hugo Weaving voiced that? Because I thought I detected Hugo Weaving voice in there. Another guy who came out actually and said how much he hated doing Red Skull. He was on record as saying how much he loathed doing it.
Well, to be fair, he had a pretty terrible Red Skull outing. Like, it wasn't a good movie for the villain. That was a terrible version of Red Skull.
The film, Captain America: First Avenger.
The film was okay. It wasn't great.
I enjoyed it.
And Red Skull in it was terrible.
It wasn't great.
If you read the comics as a Red Skull fan, you would go into that expecting a lot more.
I've read comics since where Red Skull's heaps more sort of.
It's the equivalent of like reading Fantastic Four and then going and seeing the new Fantastic Four and watching Doctor Doom just be miserably.
Although I will say in defence, I thought Captain America: First Avenger was a pretty well-made movie. I agree, Red Skull wasn't done very well.
Red Skull was not good,
but
so
anyway,
he had every right to be grumpy and angry at that.
It feels like Hugo Weaving's back. Well, dude, he was just bitching and moaning. At the end of the day, he took the money. I don't really appreciate these actors who come and take a few million and then.
Well, he's always said that he wants to finish it or come back and fix it or do it right.
Right, does he?
Like he never said, "I don't ever want to do that again."
And
he
has he with his appearance?
I think it ties out the story really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, Red Skull's now.
We were never going to use him as a villain again.
A hermit on a planet, basically.
He was basically the guardian of one of the stones.
Yeah, he's like, I guide people to something I can't hold myself. He seemed fairly miserable. I thought Red Skull kind of got his comeuppance a little bit. You know? Yeah,
exactly. Like a lifetime of penance now.
Yeah.
For wanting the stones so badly, not being powerful enough to use them.
Frankly, when I've read Red Skull and things like Ed Brubaker, for example, Red Skull, and even Mark Grimwald and DeMatteis, Red Skull cap stories, there's lots of good ones. Like, why couldn't they have done another Red Skull? Story in modern times. There's plenty of good ones to pick from the comics.
There are, but after that first movie where they just trashed him, they can't bring him back and use him again.
To be honest, most of the good stories I've read, anyway, take place in the now of the comics, whereas that was back in the 40s, where, Captain America comics back in the 40s are literally propaganda. And kind of the movie itself kind of played on that a little bit.
Yeah,
he was at his most nasty.
The movies are very hesitant about flashbacks. We're sick to death of seeing Cap in the 1940s. Because it seemed like every time we saw him, he would have flashbacks to when he was...
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying if you...
With Agent Carter
Ed Brubaker's Cap, Red Skull's in it now. There are...
the other problem we've had is we've brought back Cap, we brought back Bucky, we brought back Red Skull. And it's just like, who didn't die? Who else is 100 years old and still going?
Yeah, but
you lose a lot of credibility.
You can't complain about Ed Brubaker's Put a Soldier on, which brought back Bucky. It's legendary. It's great.
No, that worked, but you can't continually do the same thing. Sure, it gets very old very quickly.
And famously, that was the one I think that Stan was always like, you can't bring back Bucky, and it had been pitched 1,000 times, and Ed Brubaker finally walked in and gave a killer pitch, and they were like, you know what, press the button, let's do it.
Exactly. Like, it was good enough.
Oh, it's a great story. As far as I'm concerned, Winter Soldier, Ed Brubaker, Captain America is one of the, easily in the top 5 Captain American stories I've read.
Yeah, but bringing characters back, it's a very slippery slope.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's some characters that you can't ever bring back. Like Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy, those sort of characters in Spidey's background, you don't touch.
I agree. I think Gwen Stacy, tragic though it is, and I hate saying it, and I hate it happened, I think if you bring her back as Gwen Stacy in the regular continuity, I think it diminishes the event.
It does, absolutely.
I think Spider-Gwen works, in alternate dimension kind of thing. I think that works. It's a different kind of like approach.
Yeah, but the MCU doesn't deal with that.
No. It'd be interesting to see if they actually got off their asses at Sony and really got this Spider-Verse churning, if they would get to do Spider-Verse as a story. If they got 6-7 movies down the road, if they would actually do that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, it would take a few movies to get there, and I think it's a big investment.
Yeah.
And if we are going to get any superhero fatigue, by the time you get 6 or 7 movies, that's another 15 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, for a single character, you've normally got a year or two between movies.
And for all the people out there who say that, superheroes will never fatigue, it's like, look, just like Westerns, everything has its day in the sun. This day in the sun is probably going to last at least another 10 years. But, everything goes up and down. Trends in Hollywood. And if you ignore trends, you just don't know what you're talking about. I think there's still so much juice in the superhero franchise, and Marvel have been really, really skillful in exploiting and moving things in different genres. They're playing the game so well.
Put it this way, if Marvel slip up massively...
Sure.
And have 2 or 3 movies on the trot, then we're going to start seeing the end of it.
Oh, for sure.
Because at that point, they'll go a year or 2 without really taking much profit.
Yeah.
DC's done the same thing, and they're really struggling. People are already talking about superhero fatigue with them.
Definitely.
And Sony right now isn't off the ground enough on its own.
They've famously got this Venom trailer that came out, Stu. Did you see the Venom?
Yeah, but we'll talk about that in the actual podcast.
That'll be in our regular show.
Let's keep it on topic, Dave.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love something that people in Hollywood themselves do, like the industry papers love to pick something that's going well and pretend it will last forever. They love doing it, and the second that there's a bomb, they predict its doom. They're famous for doing it, and but I will say this: I think Marvel Studios, Disney, have been so skillful at exploiting this kind of the rich vein of stories they've got and the audience appetite. And
But Marvel, they're doing it smart. They will
very smart.
Every year they put out a movie that is not meant to go viral, make $1 billion.
Sure.
They put out one movie every year that is meant to be safe, sticks to the formula, gets a B rating. Everyone's happy enough to go and see it once or twice. It makes money. They churn it through.
Ant-Man, it was Doctor Strange. I enjoyed them, but I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's your Ant-Mans, yeah. It's your... Often the second generation of movies, they weren't expecting to go that big.
Sure.
They'll then normally have 1 or 2 movies a year that they try to go big on.
And, for example, Avengers Infinity War, they were going...
So this year, Black Panther was a middle. They didn't expect it to do anywhere near what it did.
No one did.
Ant-Man is their safe bet.
Sure.
And then Avengers was their massive hit.
Sure.
Next year, we've got Captain Marvel, we've got Avengers again. Captain Marvel is meant to be
Captain
up there.
Marvel, I'm so ready for,
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be up there, but it's still safer.
Yeah.
Avengers is obviously a massive hit.
They'll be hoping to do the same numbers they did in Avengers 4 that they'll do with this. I'm fascinated to see. Stu and I doing.
They're probably hoping they'll be breaking that.
Yeah. Stu and I doing live reaction. I'll be fascinated to see by Friday night what the audience feedback has been and the critical feedback has been, Stu.
Look, I'm expecting 8s out of 10s.
Yeah, me too.
Across the internet for the.
Do you reckon we'll get
critics?
You know how you always get the people who bitch and moan. What do you think they're going to be bitching and moaning about? The ones who were bitching and moaning about Natasha and Hulk and Age of Ultron. All that kind of shit.
For me, the finger snap left the original Avengers, who we've seen in 2 Avengers movies.
Sure.
Maybe it would have been a little nicer to see.
Sexism, there's the old catch cry on the internet. Too many white males for you.
That's not. But it's more that it would have been nicer to see some of the newer characters that haven't had an Avengers movie get a shine. Rocket's the only Guardian left.
I do love Rocket.
But it would have been nice to see the other Guardians maybe show up.
Star-Lord got dusted, considering how big Chris Pratt is. But he was fairly ineffectual in this movie, and I didn't think he was particularly strong in this film, actually.
He wasn't given a lot of screen time. What he did was good comedic value.
He was good. He was funny and stuff. But I found Groot more emotionally affecting when he died.
No, the opposite. Groot was almost not in this movie.
No, when Groot died, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, I didn't care at all.
Really? He's just heartless.
Teen Groot didn't do a lot for me this movie.
He didn't get anywhere near to play Baby Groot, God.
No, he wasn't getting the screen time, but even when he did, it wasn't a great character.
No, he was playing his...
he had one amazing moment, which was when he got to pick up the hammer.
Yeah, but another question for you. I agree with you, by the way. Teen Groot was not the smash hit Baby Groot was.
Not the hit that Groot was.
Yeah, but do you remember, dude, when, was it Guardians 2? Do you remember everywhere was Baby Groot? No one would shut the fuck up about Baby Groot. You remember that?
Yeah, that was what they were selling,
Yeah, and whereas I thought Teen Groot he was nowhere compared. He was just like a whiny bitch with his, video game.
Yeah, it suits the teenage moniker.
The angst. Angst. Stuart,
he wasn't given any screen time.
Michelle was saying that he created the handle, so that the handle of the hammer is like Groot.
Yeah.
Is that right? I missed that. I thought he just picked it up. I thought he just picked it up.
Did you even watch the...
I was watching it, but I got a bit drowsy at one point. But he picked it up. But Michelle's saying he actually kind of incorporated some of himself into the hammer.
Yeah.
And then chopped his arm off.
Yeah.
Well, he did that, at least. That was a big moment for an angsty teenager.
Yeah, I said he got one good moment, and that was it, when he made the handle.
Michelle then said that the hammer won't be that strong because it's wood.
The handle?
The handle.
The handle was wooden on the last one.
Okay, well, you've told her, I guess. I was used to me anyway, that he'd given up his arm. I thought he just picked it up, which I thought was, okay, he's picked something up, well done.
He can regrow his arm in a couple of minutes, right?
Yeah, that was the other thing.
So it's not a massive sacrifice.
He's constantly growing the arm. It wasn't a permanent.
But when the dwarf, who Peter Dinklage, by the way,
and didn't we speculate, Stu, and you said you thought he was going to be the dwarf.
Yeah, I called it weeks ago. It was.
Did I agree with you? Please tell me I agree with you on that one. I probably didn't. Oh no!
I don't know. I think you were in the camp of I don't know or care.
I was also for all the debate we had about midgets. Well, it turns out he played a giant midget. So,
yeah, he played a dwarf.
Yeah.
Like the species dwarf.
But a giant version.
But this dwarf, apparently dwarves in the MCU were about 16 foot tall or something.
That was super clever. I thought that was really cool.
It was cool. So he was playing a full body character. It wasn't really CGI. Obviously he was enlarged, but it was him. There was no prosthetics. That wasn't magically done.
I think he did a really good job again. Small role, but did a lot with it, you know?
Small role, immediately recognisable, though.
Definitely. And he's a good actor, he's got a good voice. And all those people, Stu, who were thinking that, one of the Black Order from the one word they, were so convinced they were correct, well, they were proved wrong.
Yeah.
And from memory, Stu, I didn't even hear it, so I didn't even know it was a thing. But people were apparently convinced on the internet and going to fucking bat for it. And maybe these people will take a good hard look at themselves and think, out of a second, you can't get the voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was so.
It came literally a day after Kevin Feige said he's recognisable.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, so he's not playing a CGI character.
Yeah.
And then, literally the next day, they have a CGI character saying one word and everyone freaks out.
I tell you what I'm going to do. My new thing on the sequel is...
It's clickbait, though. It's clickbait.
It's clickbait. I'm going to start being, less fucking, spun out by these idiots on the internet telling me how to think.
I think that's the third time you've resolved to do this, Dave.
No, but I'm taking it fucking real.
Yeah, sure.
The same people who told me that Silver Surfer was going to be... and I lost bets to you on this... And,
multiple times.
Halfway through the film, I thought to myself, where's the fuck Silver Surfer? Because I was just thinking, if Silver Surfer just flies across the top of the screen, I'll count this one as a victory.
Yeah.
And I thought, he ain't coming. No. It didn't feel like he was in any rush.
And unless this deal goes through quickly, he's not going to be in the next one either. Yeah,
no, I'd agree. Oh, well, if the deal gets locked...
If the deal goes through, then I'd say he's a chance for a post-credit scene. Yeah, but he's not going to be in it.
Yeah, unless...
There's no payoff. There's no emotional investment in a character to fly in an ex-machina a victory.
The only investment would be my bet.
Yeah, exactly.
There'd be that.
I'd rather see a character I know show up to save the day than a random fly-in...
Sure. Yeah, we've got to grow to... Give me a Fantastic Four movie or at least a Marvel movie with Silver Surfer so I grow to love him inside the movie rather than just a stunt cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Question for you. Michelle was super upset by Hulk. She said he was a big scaredy cat through the whole movie. Do you think he was scared of Thanos?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was just...
This is the first time he's been beaten...
Yeah.
And he didn't have a chance.
I like the interplay... I always like Ruffalo, good actor. I like the interplay, how Hulk would almost come through and then go no, and then go back in. And he was like, Hulk, we've got a lot of things to work on, pal.
Yeah.
At the end.
I did like that. It's a cool...
And he wasn't Dustin, was he?
Ruffalo?
Yeah.
No, he's there in the Hulkbuster armor in the final scene.
Cool. So he'll definitely get a big party in Avengers 4. You can imagine Hulk will come out then for the rematch.
You'd think so, yeah. Look, this was a nice way to take Hulk off the table.
Yeah, and he got his moment at the start where he came out against Thanos right at the beginning, really.
Yeah, which was a great little reveal when it was we have a Hulk and then he comes smashing in.
I thought to myself, I don't think Hulk's going to win this round because otherwise it's going to be a pretty short movie. I thought, Hulk, you've come out charging... But I don't like...
Yeah, Hulk normally against Thanos, decent. Hulk against Thanos with a power gem already?
In the comics, Thanos without power gems against Hulk, where are you, Stu? What is generally the power levels like?
Normally you'd consider the Hulk to win, but it depends on how... It always depends on how angry he is.
And the writers and stuff. With each power gem, he gets more powerful, doesn't he?
Well, the power gem gives him power.
Yes.
But it also powers the other gems.
Right.
So it makes the space gem more powerful.
Oh, I got you. So it's the exponential.
So it lifts all the other gems as well as him. So he can use it on his own.
It was very video gamey when he got a gem in it. And he get
a power up. Yeah. You see it surge into his veins.
Yeah, no. I also will say this. Thanos, I thought, when we did Infinity Gauntlet, I said to you, he was a bit more sympathetic than I expected. And I thought this movie he was a bit more sympathetic than I thought.
It's a villain with a motive that you understand.
Yes.
It's not just a random, I hate this group of people, so I'm going to kill them.
Until now, in the movies. In the movies until now, he's basically been without any character other than, like, I'm going to go and get the gems.
Yeah, we've constantly seen him saying, I want the gems, but we've never seen why.
This time,
And now we get he's all about the balance of the universe.
Yeah.
And, like, in the flashback scene with him and Gamora, he feels like quite a caring figure.
He turns her eyes away when they shoot out half the population.
Yeah, like, he covers her eyes so she doesn't get scarred, and he's, talking to her and...
Yeah.
Teaching her to balance something, actually, you do feel sympathy for, and you kind of agree with his...
Well, at least he's got a point of view, you know?
Yeah, but it does make sense what he's saying. Like,
he's saying we're going to destroy ourselves.
He's saying overpopulation is the problem, but every planet will eventually get to the point where there's more mouths to feed than food.
I agree. I don't think genocide's the answer, but it's going to happen to Earth.
No, exactly right. And pretty much every sane person is going to say genocide's not the answer,
sure. But he's not sane. He's a bit.
And then he said, "This is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Take out half the universe."
And he's done it before, and he actually cited examples to her as well, didn't he?
Well, he said Gamora's home planet is now like an Eden.
Now, Stu, you're like this. Thanos, prior to us doing the signal. I didn't hate him or anything, but he was just he wasn't even on the board for me.
Yeah, I imagine that's the same with most people.
Yeah. Even in the movies, I was like, like him in the movies. Now that we've got to this level of the movies, and after this movie, and after reading the couple of books we've done, Thanos is actually really growing on me as a character.
Absolutely.
Like, I must say, there's a lot more depth than I realised.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, Thanos is now up there in terms of the MCU villains. Yes. I'd say it's him and Loki. They're the only two villains that really stand out.
Yeah, I mean, would you count... I mean, who else... I mean, yes, I agree with you. Hela was good.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some good one-shot villains.
Yeah. She was good, but I mean, but that's Cate Blanchett, very good actress. But as a character, I also thought Josh Brolin did a good job. He had a lot of lines to deliver.
They were right when they said this is Thanos' movie.
Yes.
Everything pivots around Thanos. He gets the most screen time out of any character. Mm-hmm. Maybe RDJ.
RDJ's up there, yeah.
Is up there, but I still feel Thanos gets more screen time.
Dude, when RDJ was fighting Thanos and the armor started getting stripped from him and then the knife thing went in, I sighed then. I was like, oh! I even think I said, oh no. Because, I just can't handle it. And then they did Spidey, and I was like, there wasn't sobbing, Stu, but I was crying inside.
Well, at that point, when RDJ got stabbed, I went, all bets are off. I don't know what's happening anymore. I can't...
I thought Thanos was going to neck twist him too.
I thought he was the most safe Avenger just because it's RDJ.
Yeah. Well, he lived to fight another day. He healed his little wound up with his...
He did heal it. He's walking wounded, but he is walking.
Yeah, he's got a little limp going, and they actually got a fairly strong contingent for the next movie in terms of power. They do have, they've got a God, they've got RDJ, they've got Cap, they've got various others.
They have the first gen of Avengers.
Yeah.
Everyone from the first gen of Avengers is there.
And not Nick Fury.
Not Nick Fury, not Maria Hill.
He dust in the post-credits scene, but he did call Captain Marvel, which basically means Captain Marvel's going to be a big hitter in this movie, in the next movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And, dude, when they said to me, when Kevin Feige called me and said we're going to do Captain Marvel in the 90s with Skrulls and Samuel L. Jackson, I mean, I know I was excited. But after this movie, I'm sitting on about a 10 of excitement for that. And I'm not the most knowledgeable Captain Marvel fan, other than I like her. You know what I mean? I just like her when she turned up in events and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do a trade for her or something, down the road. Probably Kelly Sue DeConnick, I think, considered, the modern best Captain Marvel writer.
Yeah, obviously we'll see what works well with the story.
We'll do... I've got a description for you, Stu. Maybe after Avengers dies down, I'm thinking we might do Death of Captain Marvel, which I believe is Jim Starlin.
Absolutely, I'd love to do that.
I bought that one on a recent Kindle sale, and now I've realised. I mean, I love Jim Starlin. Now I realise what's going on. I'm like, yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind doing that. I also want to do Kree Skull War, which I've got in hardcover and I've never read.
Any kind of cosmic stuff, I'm down.
Well, dude, I've got Kree Skull War, and I read half of it about 10 years ago, and it was actually blowing me away. I was actually like, this is really good.
Yeah.
I was really... So we might
even... I've been telling you for years you should go to Cosmic.
Yeah, well, I might think I might...
Don't waste your time with street level.
I don't know. It takes all types, you don't understand. I've got fairly broad taste, so we'll do Kree Skull War shortly, so we kind of get in on that. I believe it's late 60s, Stu. Was written in the late 60s. Maybe early
first
70s.
one, yeah.
Yeah, maybe early 70s.
Yeah, with Rick Jones.
Yeah, Rick Jones. Yeah, look, I mean, we're not going to sit here and go through every single beat of this movie. Stu, you've got more comments, but I mean, I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10, and I'm only minusing 0.5 off because I'm so traumatised about Spidey. I was wearing my cap and everything. Stu caught me as I was coming out the movie, and I was still a little emotional. And, you know, and it was like, oh, I've got to face the public, face the questions. I just want to get inside a car and just cry. Play Chris Isaak music.
Yeah.
And you were giving it a 9.5 to 10, Stu, weren't you, as well? Which I guess
easily. I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this and you're watching this, you've seen the movie.
Otherwise.
I mean, I'd love to know what you guys thought, whether you guys agree with us, whether you guys had issues with it, whether you loved it.
I've been fascinated if someone's got issues, like, tell us. You know, like, I'm sort of interested to hear what the consensus is on this film.
I mean, obviously, Dave and I are coming at it from comic book fans. We read the books before we saw the movies.
We rolled in.
I felt this was incredibly faithful to the comics.
Yeah, we did Infinity Gauntlet.
Right down to the point where at the last scene where Thanos is on his little farm in the cottage,
yes,
he had his armor as a scarecrow, which is directly out of the comics.
That's good. Isn't it? That tells me that they genuinely, by this point, really care about it. Like, they're sort of quite reverent at times to the comics, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
When you're making this amount of money, this amount of cheddar in Hollywood, and they're still referencing back, and they're sort of like, yeah, we know where this came from. You know, like...
Because it's one of those little details that you could very easily leave out, and no one would notice it.
Would you compare it to, like, X-Men 3 Last Stand, which just shit on the comics it came from? Like, it's a world of difference.
Yeah.
And we're in a different world now.
So, I mean, as a comic book fan, I felt this movie did everything I wanted it to do. It kept very faithful where it needed to.
Yeah.
I felt... There's a bunch of details that I don't care about.
No.
The order that he got the stones in, the colours of the stones, all that sort of stuff, I don't care about.
There was a nod to Rebirth of Thanos when he was fighting the Collector and beating up on the Collector. That was kind of out of that one we did where he went and collected them all off the Elders, remember? You don't remember? In Rebirth... So you can't remember the cosmic...
No, I remember. It wasn't in the film.
No, listen to what I'm saying. In Rebirth of Thanos, okay, Thanos went and collected all the stones off the Elders, yeah?
Yeah.
And he went to the Collector, and
he made a deal with the Collector.
Yeah, I'm saying... And
he never fought the Collector.
Well, yeah, I get it, but I'm saying he went to the Collector in this movie, though, was kind of the nod to the scene.
Yeah, no...
He went to the Collector!
Yeah, he did, but that wasn't a nod to the scene, like...
Well, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought so. I thought he ticked that box, like that was...
The other thing was we never actually saw the Collector. That was all his reality gem.
True. Well, that's a good point. They actually had him, like, waving.
Yeah, as he disappeared into the ether.
Okay, Stu, whatever on my point, but I still thought it was a nod. When I say a nod, I thought it was...
Like, you're basically saying this character was in the book and it was also in the movie. That's as far as it went.
What I'm saying, and I hope listeners and viewers out there agree with me, okay, that he, by going to that, was kind of like a slight nod to the original scene in the comics. That's all I'm saying. Not the in the comic from memory, he didn't fight him, but then the Challenger fought him. You know, like the Collector parlayed.
I think you could go as far as the character is the same, but
yes,
and virtually
the setting because he went to the Collector's collection house.
Where else are you going to see the Collector?
But I liked it. That's all I'm saying. Case closed. I liked it. I would have also... I was hoping to see the Grandmaster, but we didn't see the Grandmaster.
No, there's no reason to see the Grandmaster. He's dealing with his revolution on Sakaar.
Yeah, but I think it would have been fun to have an Elder in there. Another Elder.
I was... Like, when I first saw the shadowy figure on the planet where they were getting the Soul Gem,
yes,
I was kind of hoping it was going to be like a gardener or someone like that, and we just get a single scene.
And it easily could have been. So chose Red Skull.
And then I was equally happy with the Red Skull.
Do you think that might have been Feige's way of tying off the Red Skull storyline? Because people have been bitching and moaning about that for
People
years.
have been saying Red Skull's still out there. People haven't been upset that they're not using him.
No, but there's people who've been calling for him, and he was kind of alluded
it's more a case. It's more a case of they get questioned like, where is Red Skull? He got teleported away. Is he still alive? All this sort of stuff. So it was a nice way they could just tie it up. Go, he's there. He's on his planet. He's living out this penance.
Man, I want Avengers 4 now. Fuck all this bullshit. I just want to fast forward in time.
I'll tell you the one thing I do appreciate. It's what the Russos said about, we don't want to give you Avengers 4 and the title and all the information now. We want you to see this movie and digest it.
Oh, I agree.
Now that I've seen this movie, I totally understand why it needs to be digested.
You saw it twice in a day. I'm going to see it again next week.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information.
There is a lot of information, and
there's
do need...
scenes in different locations and storylines. There's one on Titan, there's one on Wakanda, there's the Guardians one. Like, there's a lot going on, you know?
Yeah. There is a lot that needs to be taken in. There's a lot that needs to be worked over.
Yeah.
Just getting your head straight about what all the characters are at all times. And
yeah. I think it'll be challenging to come in not having watched a Marvel movie. But I think this was a reward.
Like, I went in with a few friends today that have seen maybe 3 or 4 Marvel movies out of the 18.
Sure.
They enjoyed it.
Yeah, but they were a little bit like lost.
But a lot of the moments that fans kind of felt for, they didn't really get. So, like, they hadn't seen Homecoming. To them, Spider-Man is still Tobey Maguire.
Right.
And so when Spidey died, they were like, well, I don't really care. It's a character they've already met for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And honestly, I don't know.
I was surprised that they killed Spidey for that reason. I think they need to keep sort of like him in the spotlight a bit with the audiences. Like, you know, frankly, like when you're trying to rebirth the new Spider-Man.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said at the beginning. Like, I'm surprised they didn't kill off more of the original cast and leave some of the newer guys that haven't been in the Avengers before.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, but we'll see. And I guess in Avengers 4, who knows how fast things will take place. Maybe some characters come back faster than others, or maybe they all come back at the end, or maybe they all come back halfway.
Yeah, I mean, we've also got the option where all those characters are somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So whether it's...
the characters, it's half the universe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's half the universe. So whether it's a separate universe, whether it's like a heaven or a limbo type
thing... Yeah, there
could
be a storyline, is what you're saying.
You could run a story with all those characters that have died.
From memory in the comic, Nebula gets the gauntlet and brings her back, doesn't she?
Yeah, and she's still alive.
Yeah.
But Thanos ripping her apart into those machine parts was the equivalent of the half dead, half alive.
And I love that note. That's definitely a note.
That was, absolutely. I really like that.
I thought that was great.
Torturing her to the point of insanity.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, she's already a pretty loose unit from we've seen in previous movies.
Yeah, she's not entirely hinged.
Anger-driven character of all time. So look, dude, I think that might wrap it up in terms of our live reactions. Obviously, Signal will be back on Friday night doing our regular show. We'll cut more news in about like what's happening with Avengers, Infinity War, like reactions, and we might have some more thoughts. And
we'll do a complete non-spoiler review in the podcast.
Can I just say we enjoyed it 9.5 out of 10 for the non-spoiler review? Like, how detailed do you have to get for non-spoilers? Like, go watch it.
Why are you whinging to the people that are viewing it, Dave?
I know, but it's just...
you idiot.
No, I'm not whinging. I'm just...
Whinge when the cameras are off.
I'm not whinging. I'm just saying, like, to me, a non-spoiler review is kind of like, I enjoyed it or I didn't enjoy it, and a score. Like, I don't understand how much more complicated you need to get. Like, you know... When
Dave, stop.
Okay, anyway. Okay.
Stop. Why don't you watch one or two of them, and you'll get there.
I've watched plenty. Anyway, that'll wrap up our special episode video audio feast. I'd like to thank you all for watching and for listening. We will catch you very shortly on the regular show. Goodbye.
See ya.